Peace to the gods. So today we're going to be speaking about how the people who have been come to be known as African Americans, Black Americans, and Negroes, how these people are in fact the original inhabitants and the indigenous peoples of the Americas, North America, South America, and the islands. Now, this is a highly debated topic in the Black community right now. So, with that being said, I would just like to do a small, simple little exercise to prime the mind. I would like everyone to just close their eyes for a couple of seconds and picture in your mind a unicorn. Yes, a unicorn. Now, I'm sure everyone was able to do that with no problem. You were able to very clearly picture a unicorn, the size, the shape, the color, all of the above. If you don't want to do a unicorn, you can do any so-called fictional character. You can do an elf, a mermaid, a fire-breathing dragon, any of the above. But I'm sure the result will all be the same. Your mind will have no hesitation at all to be able to imagine these things and bring to life visually the characteristics of these so-called fictional characters. Now I need you to ask yourself, how is this possible? How is the mind able to do that? And the answer is very simple. It's through programming. Before we were even able to walk and talk, we've been seeing these images through television, through TV shows, through cartoons, through books, and through education, or as I like to call it, indoctrination in the school system by people who obviously are not our people. Now that we've done that, I would like to ask y'all to close your eyes and picture a Native American. Just close your eyes for a couple seconds and picture a Native American. Now that you've done that, if you're like a lot of people, what you pictured was, let me see if I can pull it up on this phone. What you probably pictured was someone like this. I don't know if y'all can see that. Hopefully I can see it. But what a lot of people probably pictured, the ones who are in what's the word? The ones who are not in favor of the information I'm presenting here, they probably picture someone like this, that this is the true Native American, and these were the first inhabitants of these lands. You know, the people with usually pale skin, slanted eyes, so-called Asian features, a flat nose, flat thin lips, long stringy hair. These people have come to be known as the Native Americans. Now I want you to ask yourself, when you do close your eyes and picture this person, where did that image come from? Who put that image in your mind? And more than likely the answer is the same as it is to my previous question. It came from programming. From, like I said, before we could walk and talk, we were seeing these people in movies, TV shows, cartoons, and books, and again through education, or as I like to call it, indoctrination and assimilation from people who are not our people. So with that being said, I'm going to show y'all these images that I have collected here on my laptop, and I'm also going to take this time to plug real quick. I actually am going to have to turn this camera off on this phone, start a new video to show y'all these images on my laptop. Hopefully y'all can see them clear and they're not too blurry or pixelated, but I do not have the technology or the software to integrate the photos or embed them right in the video to make it look nice and smooth. That's why I do need y'all help. I do need donations and supporters on Patreon or PayPal or Cash App. Whatever works best. I just need that support so that this channel can continue to bring videos consistently and better quality videos. So I'm gonna turn this video off, start a new video, so I can show y'all these images. Peace. So here we have an indigenous woman. She was from Belize. This photo was taken in 1878, and she was a Carib Indian. Now, from the research that I've done, Carib was not indeed the name that they called themselves. It was a derogatory name given to them by the Europeans, and it was derived from the word cannibal. These people, the Europeans, called them cannibals and savages and said that they were subhuman. So actually the word Carib, which is where the word Caribbean comes from, the word was actually used to treat these people very inhumanely and murder them, rape them, and God knows what else. Again, that's from the research that I've done. If anyone is Caribbean and they have any other knowledge they would like to present, please feel free to enlighten me and enlighten all of us. Okay, here we have an image of a man. His name was Red Dog. He was from the Cree tribe. As you can see, let me zoom in. As you can see, this man is clearly a Negro. I mean, if he takes off that headdress and if he cuts off his braids and you saw him standing on the corner, you'll be like, oh, that's a black man. You know, if the police saw him standing on the corner, they would be like, you know, subject black male. Clearly, there's no mistaking, it's undeniable. And an interesting thing, once you start digging and researching these photos of the indigenous peoples, one thing you will notice is that you know a lot of people who look like the people. We are the ancestors reincarnated. I mean, he looks like one of my uncles. You'll look at these people, you'll be like, damn, he looks just like my uncle. He looks just like my grandfather. I got a cousin that looks just like her. So, you know, it's really bizarre. It's like time travel. The genetics are strong, the DNA is strong, and it's passed down generation to generation. Undoubtedly. Now the Cree Indians were and are from Canada, and I just want to show y'all this photo. I'm gonna pull it up on my other phone. They put Red Dog into a museum in Canada, or an art gallery in Canada, and I just want to show y'all how they tried to whitewash his image. See, this here is the image that they have of Red Dog in the art gallery in Canada. Now, you know, they still give him a little brown tint to his skin, because, I mean, they couldn't make an ass out of themselves too much, knowing that there's actual photos of this man still floating around. But nonetheless, they did whitewash him. This was not the complexion of his skin. This was the complexion of his skin. There's a big difference. You know, they turned him into a caramel color when he was very, very mahogany, very chocolate. They do this a lot. You can just imagine when we don't have the real photos to go off of how much this was done throughout the years. That's why it's important for us to do our own research at all times. At all times. We'll move on to the next photo. Okay, here we have Seminole Indians, and they were from Chokoloskee. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but they were from Chokoloskee, Florida. They're seen here posing with a stuffed alligator. We all know the gators down in Florida. You can see the palm trees behind them. And we all know how that sun hit in Florida. Obviously, the indigenous peoples there were very, very dark in color, but not just the color, the phenotype, the facial features. These were obviously so-called Negro peoples. Move on to the next photo. Now this is a picture of Cubans. These are indigenous Cuban people. This photo was taken in 1860. A lot of times when people are dismissive of the truth, they'll say, oh yeah, there was black people in South America and in the islands, but they were slaves. Those were slaves. Now you can look at these people, clearly see ain't nothing slave about these people. You can see the elaborate headdresses, you can see the elaborate jewelry, and you can see the garments, the clothing that they're wearing. Clearly indigenous clothing. Or people say, oh, those were Africans. Again, Africans do not typically wear the feathers on their head. It's an indigenous American tradition. And again, you telling me they brought these headdresses and jewelry and other elaborate clothing over on the slave boat with them? Well, was Master letting them bring all this stuff over on a boat? I mean, he was letting them just like warriors and kings and queens over here. This lady in the middle, she has some kind of a tiara on her head. I mean, she's wearing a beautiful dress. She looks like royalty. And the way she has these two warriors on the side of her look like what would be known today as bodyguards. They protecting the queen or the princess. She's obviously some kind of royalty. You can tell by what she has on adorned on her head. Now you mean to tell me Master was letting royalty come over in these clothing and then, you know, there's elaborate jewelry and headdresses and whatnot? I mean, we got to start using common sense. These ain't no slaves and these ain't no Africans. These are indigenous Cubans. Okay. Again, the ancestors living through us. He looked like Debo off of Friday. And he looked like the Reading Rainbow guy. It's the Reading Rainbow. I mean, he looked just like him. So when I tell you that this DNA is strong, these ancestors is living in us, in our DNA, we're living proof that they existed. I mean, I'm not lying. We all know somebody who looks like these people. We all got a cousin or an uncle who look exactly like these people. I'm gonna move on to the next photo. Now this is a Seminole. A Seminole Indian woman. She was also from Chocoloskee. I'm not pronouncing it correctly, I feel like, but Chocoloskee, Florida. Her name was Ruby, and she is the sister of Charlie Tigertail. Charlie Tigertail was her brother. A Seminole Indian in Florida. Again, this ain't no slave. I'm not dressed like that. That's royalty. And she damn sure didn't bring all that all this regalia and things like that over on no damn slave ship that was crowded with, I mean, urine and feces and all kind of diseases and whatnot. I mean, this clothing and jewelry didn't come over on that ship. On damn sure did. Okay? We just gotta use common sense. Indigenous Florida woman. Seminole. Go to the next photo. Okay, these are, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Again, I believe it's Shoshone. I believe it's pronounced as Shoshone. These are Shoshone Indians. This photo was taken in 1930. They were known as sun dancers. They were doing a sun dance. And this photo was used on a postcard in the early 1900s. Again, if we zoom in, we could clearly see that this is not a Mongoloid. This is not an Asian. This ain't no one that came over on a Bering Strait. This is not anyone who's amalgamated. This is clearly the phenotype of a so-called Negro. These are our ancestors, okay? This one right here phenotypically looks like a mixture. But this one here, clearly, you can clearly see the delineation. Again, this shit ain't come from slavery. These extensive clothing, that ain't come from slavery. Let's move on to the next photo. This photo here is of, again, forgive me for pronunciation, but these are women of the Wampanoag tribe. This photo was taken in 1925. You can clearly see the jewelry, the headdresses. These are indigenous peoples of the Wampanoag tribe. Let's move on to the next photo. Okay, this is his name was unknown, but he was of the again, forgive me please, Cahuilla tribe. This tribe inhabited California, and to be precise, the Coachella Valley, the desert area in the Coachella Valley. Now we all know about Coachella, where all the rich people is at, all the, you know, actors, singers, all the artists with the big mansions and whatnot. They came in and, you know, they're living on stolen land, indigenous land. This is his land. This man is clearly a so-called black man. He was from the Cahuilla tribe in California, in Coachella. You know, where they have all these big extravagant music festivals and whatnot. All these millionaires, all these big beautiful mansions and nice cars. You know, they live in the American dream from the blood of our ancestors, clearly. Let's move on to the next photo. Okay, this is Melinda Lawson, and she was a full-blooded Choctaw woman. Beside her are her sisters. I had the sisters' names written down, but I can't seem to find them right now. But her name was Melinda Lawson, and these are her sisters. And she was a full-blooded Choctaw Indian. Now this photo here is of a woman. She was from the Zapotec peoples, which are an indigenous peoples in Mexico. She was from San Blas, Mexico, the Zapotec tribe. Again, these were indigenous peoples. Well, they still are. Actually, they're still there. They still exist. I'm sure there's been some degree of amalgamation and admixture in these people now, but this was an older photo of, I'm sure when their bloodline was more pure. This is how they look. The full noses, the full lips, the very, very dark skin. Again, I'm sure a lot of us have sisters or cousins or aunties who look just like this woman here in the United States, so-called United States. We're not even going to get into these borders and whatnot, but now I want to show y'all some pictures that were put side by side of indigenous peoples and celebrities. This here was put together by @Truth Set Us Free. This is an indigenous man here in the middle, clearly of the so-called African American phenotype, and this is Floyd Mayweather's father. You can see there's a very clear resemblance in the facial structure, the face shape, the nose, the lips. And this is a so-called African American man, and this is a so-called Indian man. You can see that you know, genetics is the same, the bloodline is the same. And this is Floyd Mayweather here. This definitely looks like this could be his dad or his granddad. If you look at the nose, the lips, the facial structure and whatnot. And this here is a picture of course, the famous James Brown. And this is an so-called Indian man. You can see phenotypically these two men look just alike. The nose, the lips, the skin color, the face shape, the bone structure. You can clearly see the bloodline is there. A lot of us just been reclassified with you know, these man-made terms. I'll show y'all this one last photo of course, this is Kodak Black here. I believe he's Haitian, and Baby the Legend made this meme. But this is a statue of someone from South America, Costa Rica, it looks like. This is an ancient statue or structure, and this is Kodak Black. Fast forward all these centuries, but as you can see, it's in our DNA. The culture is not just, you know, a physical thing. It's a spiritual thing. You know, our hairstyles, our tattoos, our clothing, you know, the jewelry, the gold in our mouth, all of that, you know, it's in our DNA to dress the way we do and to have the fashion the way we have it. This is passed down in the DNA. We are the originals. This is us. We are the ancestors. Please remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe to Key Energy. There will be a part 2 in the near future with further proof that so-called African Americans are in fact the indigenous inhabitants of the Americas. Peace and love.